Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Piarco International Airport in Trinidad. And we go through the wall, and what do we see? The ATR72 from Caribbean Airlines. And this should be a fun flight today. We are going to go up to George F. Charles Airport on St. Lucia. And this is going to be an interesting one because this is, I guess, really what the ATR was made for. This is not a very short runway, but certainly for commercial purposes, it's not a big one. It's not a big runway, that's for sure. Move these out of the way real quick so we can get a look up here. We've got hotel mode on. I always start the airplane in hotel mode. It's just easier. I start the 737 in what's the word I'm looking for? Turnaround mode. I start it in turnaround mode. Nav lights off. I don't know why the nav lights are always on when you turn the airplane off. Seatbelt lights don't need to be on right now either. Alright, so we're looking pretty good. So we're up in hotel mode. So let's go over here and start putting things together. First thing we'll do is load the fuel and the cargo. Well, the fuel and the, let's see, payload. 3481. 3494 works for me. Payload 11270. I'll go a little below that, 11270. The zero fuel weight, let's see, takeoff weight right now is, it says 43,330, 44,153, so we're pretty close. One of the things they're going to do with the update that's coming on Tuesday, today being Sunday, is that they are going to introduce the feature where you can load the weight of the airplane in the EFB, which is going to be fabulous. So right now you just load it in the normal, microsoft flight simulator. Let's see, zero fuel weight 39,901. Yeah, we're 200 pounds. No, we're 1,100 pounds off, which is it consistently is in this airplane. I'm not quite sure why. Cruise altitude 17,000. No. 17,000 feet. Max cruise alternate is PB, which I don't know. Well, I guess you have to. I was gonna say there's another airport like very close to our destination, but that probably makes it a poor alternate choice. Transition altitude here is 4,100 feet. So select that. Alright, and then now we'll go to the flight plan page. We're going TTPP. There is a way to load TLPC. There is a way to load your SimBrief flight plan. I haven't bothered with it just because these flights are so easy. These flights are so easy to get started and so easy to load the FMC that I just don't even bother. So I'm just starting my ACARs here, and this is a official flight on VATSIM. So routing Rybor.
If you need any assistance, please do not hesitate to call on one of our cabin crew.
Execute. RNAV. This is going to be Dermy. Execute that. But it is going to be Rybor. Let me see if it'll let me load that waypoint 356 AT. Somehow don't think it's going to, but who knows? Yeah. Huh. And LiDog. Yeah, that's correct. The LiDog 2-bed. This is actually one of the longer flight plans I have loaded in this airplane. 2-bed and then a logo. This should be, I shouldn't have to be loading these waypoints because, I'll show you why, a logo. Execute and clear the discontinuity. Execute that. I'll show you why, because this, so Rybor is the last, is really the only waypoint in the flight plan. And then when you look at the approach, it gives you Rybor, this 6 nautical mile waypoint, which is at 345 AT or whatever it was. Then LiDog, then 2-bed, then 2-bed to a logo, which is your initial approach fix. So this should be part of the approach. Now, one cardinal rule of instrument flying is that you do not load approaches waypoint by waypoint, which is what I just did. It's like a no-no. It has to be loaded as a unit. You know, and for whatever reason, it doesn't let us do that. So, or it won't load the flight plan correctly. So, be that as it may, oopsie. 122.80, enter and flip it. 121.5, you always want to monitor 121.5 when somebody tells you monitor guard 121.50, that's what they mean. 121.50 is the emergency frequency. And we are good pilots by always monitoring the emergency frequency. 116.9. Show you I'm getting all this stuff. So DTPP, approach. I just pick just whatever VOR based or ILS approach plate, and it gives me the information that I want for the departure. Ironically enough, the transition altitude 4,100 feet. We wanted that earlier. Now what we want is the Piarco. I want the Piarco VOR just in case I need to come back for any reason. It's already there. 116.9, and I would put in the ILS in the backup. 109.70. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Because if for some reason I need to come back, and it's an emergency of some kind, and I need to fly the ILS approach, or I want to fly the ILS approach for simplicity's sake back into Piarco, we've already got the frequency set. So that's good. ADF, never mind. Nav aids and airports, I like seeing those. I don't like the synthetic vision. It seems like a cool idea, but in reality, it really isn't, because what happens is you can't really see. It's difficult enough to see the vertical speed tape without the synthetic vision on. With the synthetic vision on, it's virtually impossible. Alright, altimeter is 1014. QNH is 1014, I should say. Turn on bearing 1, bearing 2. That gives us the bearings to our VOR, which is what we set earlier. Let's go transponder 4643. It's the transponder code I always use. I don't know why. On standby, TCAS, auto. Don't know why I always use that, but I do. Alright, FMS takeoff data. Let's look at that. Let's go. Perfect. Alternate TBPB. Do that at 15,000 if we have to. Oops. Alright, there's that. Set. Weight is set. Alright. Runway 10. Execute that. Performance, we've got now our takeoff data. Set those airspeeds. Our performance data is set. Trims and 3 axes, all good. Let's make sure our trim is correct. It is not. There's one up. One up. Good, good, good. We can ditch the ground power, because we are in hotel mode. Alright. Doors, seatbelts, and beacon on. Alright. So now we can go to our before taxi checklist, and now we are cleared to start the engines. So let's take engine 1 out of hotel mode, or engine 2 rather, out of hotel mode. And that should start the prop moving, which it does. Alright, so turn the fuel pump on. Everything's looking good. Now prop brake is off, start is ready to go. Alright. Let's start. Engine number 1. And that's coming up nicely. And look here. I'm not like the, you know, you get people that really know this airplane well. There's some people that know this airplane so well that a lot of the things that don't work properly annoy them. I am not one of those people. Need oxygen supply on. I find this airplane very simple to fly for the most part. Coming from a Boeing point of view. Alright, so before taxi checklist, FWS recall, let's click recall. I know there's a way to do it on the screen, but I don't remember what that is right now. Cockpit comm hatch, do auto anti-icing as required, TRU on checked, anti-skid test performed. Let's go flaps 15. Nose wheel steering arm procedure. Okay. Let's click through those. And our next checklist will be the before takeoff checklist. Alright, so we're ready to go as far as I can see anyway. Which is debatable, I know. Alright, let's turn on our nav and strobe lights and our taxi takeoff lights. As far as I can see, everything's good to go. We are on 122.8. Let's check real quick. Nav 122.8. Just want to make sure that we are connected and everything's good to go with VATSIM. Alright, that was somewhat painless. So let's get a move on here. Parking brake is released. And off we go. Once we remove the wheel chocks. And we're really going to be ready to go. Ay, ay, ay.
Welcome aboard Caribbean Airlines, where safety across the skies is our priority.
Cargo traffic, Caribbean
We invite
434,
you to
taxi
sit
to
back
runway
and see
10
all
via
the ways that we
taxiways,
come together to
Whiskey
make our
Alpha,
flight
Alpha
safe
1,
and
Cargo.
sound.
civil aviation regulations require that passengers comply with the information
One thing
given.
I've noticed is this thing taxis like it's
We know
on
that you
fire.
fly frequently, so to reinforce what you already know and to enable those around you to hear our safety procedures, we ask that you give us your full attention.
See how difficult it is to see the, like I'm adjusting
Please
the
fasten your
altitude right
seatbelt
now.
now.
On
To
the,
do so,
on the
insert the
PFD.
flat metal tongue
I
into the
can
buckle.
barely see that.
Pull the loose end of the strap to tighten. To release, lift the top of the buckle and pull apart.
Thanks, everyone. And now, in preparation for
I
takeoff,
mean, I can see that it's moving.
Do bring your chairs to the upright position and store your tray tables. Please open your window shades and pull your armrest down as we're almost ready to get going.
Okay.
Do observe the fasten seatbelt and no smoking signs.
As a precaution, blankets should not be used at this time.
Please note that the emergency exits are clearly marked with red and white exit signs. There are 4 exit doors, 2 on either side of the aircraft, each equipped with evacuation slides, which inflate automatically. There are also 4 window exits located over the wings. Look around now and locate the
And
exits that are
that
nearest to
plane
you.
right there
Please note that your
is
nearest
another
exit may be behind you.
Batson pilot.
Life rafts are located in overhead compartments near the exits. With the loss of electrical power or in a smoke-filled cabin, an emergency lighting system will illuminate and lead you to the nearest exit.
Make time to check out the safety information leaflet in the seat pocket in front of you.
It gives details of emergency procedures and equipment carried on board. Pay special attention to the protective position you would be required to adopt in the event of an emergency and the location of the life rafts to be used in a ditching.
Your life vest is stowed either under your seat or between your seats at floor level.
Should you need to use it, remove it from its stowage. Take the life vest out of the plastic packaging, unfold it and pull it over your head. Pass the tape around your waist and attach it to the buckle at the front of the vest. Pull on the end of the strap to tighten around your waist. To inflate, pull sharply down on the red tab. It may be further inflated by blowing into the red tube. There is a light that will illuminate on contact with water. Your life vest must not be inflated until you have cleared the exit. Life vests are carried for infants.
Should we lose normal cabin pressure, oxygen masks will drop from the compartment above you. Remain seated. Pull the nearest mask over your nose and mouth. Secure it by placing the elastic band over your head and pull on the side pieces to tighten. You must put on your mask before attending to anyone in your care.
Alright, release the gust lock.
we are pleased to offer a smoke-free environment.
Smoking is prohibited on board. All passengers must observe the no smoking sign. The washrooms are equipped with sensitive detectors, and it is an offense to tamper with these devices. Thank you for your attention. You can now sit back and relax as important safety checks are being carried out.
Blocking
We
altitude.
look forward to making your flight with us an enjoyable one.
We are Caribbean Airlines, and thank you
Cabin
for flying with us.
Cabin crew advised. Engine leads. External lights. Nav and strobe text takeoff. Landing lights come on last thing. Lateral FD bar. Rudder cam. Checked. Now what I want to do is bring up the after takeoff checklist so that I know what's coming. Alright, so I'm pretty pleased. One thing I do want to do is flip the ILS, set the ILS course. 105. Again, that just being so in case I need it. It is set. Alright, so now we're gonna set IS mode and nav mode, and we should be good to go. There's one last check up here. Everything looks good. Time's on. Okay. Air on as cool as possible because it's just boiling down here. Alright, so I don't see anybody coming in on that sim. On-course heading is going to be pretty much northbound. So, we left crosswind departure. Piarco traffic, Caribbean 434, taking off runway 10, be left crosswind departure to the north, Piarco. Alright, toes are off the brakes. It's a sharp looking airplane, it really is. It's not going to be too sharp when I run it into the taxiway lights. Okay, final approach course looks clear. So let's get ourselves on center line. Heading indicator checks with the runway number. So we are good to go. Notch notch is what we're looking for. Airspeed is alive. Knots. V1 and off we go. Positive rate of climb, gears coming up. Flaps can come up now. Start making our turn. I am hand flying because I don't really trust the autopilot in this airplane quite yet. And with these mountains right here, I would much prefer to handle this initial climb stage all by myself. should be climbing. At 170. But it wasn't. So I have, the thing I have that's new is FS Realistic. And I suppose if I had the engine and everything else turned up to, yeah. If I was paying attention to what I'm doing, that might help too. The reason it didn't switch to VNAV to the 170 knots that I was expecting is because I did not have it in cruise. I did not have it in the cruise power management setting, or the climb power management setting rather. Because I am a fool. So, like I said, this is definitely not a tutorial flight. But it should be a fun flight. Especially flying into what's the name of this airport? It's Castries TLPC in George F.L. Charles Airport. George F.L. Charles Airport in St. Lucia. It's there we go. Able to change the master volume setting on FS Realistic. In any event, it should be an interesting airport to fly into. Shortish runway. Shortish runway, and I have not flown into this airport yet in at least this payware version of the airport yet. So, alright, let's do our after takeoff checklist. Landing gear up, flaps 0. Power management. See, this is why God created a checklist, because if I had been doing the checklist, I would have noticed my foolishness earlier. Engine bleed, taxi and takeoff lights off. Altimeter set checked. So what happens is the checklists come up automatically, and it's really actually pretty cool because, okay, so you see how the engine bleed is the item that's up on the checklist right now. It's going to show you on this PFD that systems page where you can check. So engine bleed is good. Done. And that makes it pretty easy. So it's nice to have that automatic feature. The only thing about it for me is I prefer to have it a little sooner than the system gives it to me. So I just assume pull up the checklist myself. The other thing I want to do is turn off the seatbelt sign. So if people do want to go to the bathroom, they are able to do so. Everything looking good up there. Shouldn't be too long of a flight today, about 55 minutes in the air. We're climbing through 14.8 right now for 17. My first couple flights in this airplane, one of the mistakes that I made was trying to, and it's actually not a mistake I made, one of the mistakes I made was trying to climb too high. The service ceiling of this airplane is 25,000 feet. It has a difficult time getting any higher than 20. And so if you try climbing that high, it's just going to take forever. The mid-teens is really where it likes to be, and it's the reason why I like this airplane. I'll tell you why. I would like it even more if we turn the lights off up here. The reason why I like this airplane is because, number one, it's easy to get up and going. Or quick to get up and going. There's certainly more about the systems that I need to learn, for sure. I mean, especially the FMC. And there's a 1,000-foot notification, 1,000-foot to our climb altitude. It's easy to get up and going, especially with hotel mode. Starting it cold and dark only takes another 2 or 3 minutes. It really doesn't make much difference, but it hand flies very well, which I also like. And I like flying in the mid-teens, altitude-wise. And the reason is because in the I love the 737. Absolutely love the 737. But you don't really get much of a view of the scenery from 37,000 feet. And with this airplane you do. So we'll be going by Grenada. We'll be going past, there's Tobago right over there. Yeah, you can see a little bit of it. Going by Grenada, we'll be going up the Grenadine Islands to St. Vincent. And then up the west coast of St. Lucia to George F.L. Charles Airport. And so we should get some, weather permitting, we should get some decent views. The other thing that will be really helpful is if I stuff my pie hole and pay attention to what I'm doing. So I kind of feel like this wind sound might get a little annoying. In the video. But I guess we'll have to see. Got the other sound, you know, I have the engine sounds dialed down. Because otherwise you can't hear me talk, which some people would probably prefer. Although I suppose if you spend any amount of time listening to me talk, it's got to be by choice. So I guess we'll see, right, when we watch this back, whether it's annoying or not. There's Grenada over there. That's a fun approach. I was actually thinking about doing that approach today for this flight, but it's really not. It's interesting how kind of the percentage of time that you spend climbing and descending really makes a lot bigger an impact in terms of how long your flight takes than than the distance, because the flight to St. Charles to St. Lucia rather, isn't that much longer than the flight to Grenada, and it's like twice the distance. Which doesn't really make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense at all. I think if I were to do this for a living, this is pretty much what I would do. I would just kind of stare out the window. Trying to get the they have a setting for crash screening. Don't think I'm going to enable that. Well, it is enabled, but hopefully that's not going to okay, that's what I was looking for right there. That's what I was looking for right there, is the windshield wind. Just wanted to turn that down just a little bit, because I like the effect. I just don't. I think it's a little bit loud. So you'll notice now that the weather is disappearing and reappearing, and that's the effect of REX weather force. And I'm sure there are people out there that find it annoying and don't use it. I'm guessing probably more people use the stock weather in the sim than any sort of weather add-on, and I get that. the main reason that I use really the only reason I use REX. I think the stock weather in the airport in the sim is very good. But I want clouds over open water, and this is the only way I can get it. You know, otherwise all this over here would just be blue. There's just no buildup of any type of clouds anywhere other than over a landmass. And anybody who's actually flown in the Caribbean knows it's just not accurate. And look, this is a point that I've made several times, which is that, you know, we really are just looking for any sort of thing to complain about with this sim at this point. It's, I mean, my performance is wonderful and has been for months. And I just enjoy it a lot. It's to me, it's just now about finding the little things to improve the things that matter to you, right? I mean, the things that matter to you might be completely different than what matter to me. It depends on, you know, depends on if you're flying, you know, VFR. Depends on if you're flying low and slow. Depends on if you're flying, you know, if the only thing you care about is flying jets, you might not be flying Microsoft Flight Simulator at all. You might be flying Prepared or X-Plane. And for me, Microsoft has more than enough of what I need in terms of airplanes and what I like to fly in terms of airplanes. And the visuals are just stunning. They are simply stunning. It still blows my mind that I can sit here in my office at my house in central New York and be looking down at the Grenadine Islands from a ATR72 at 17,000 feet. Blows my mind. Blows my mind. It's funny when you zoom in to these islands, to the smaller islands, even the bigger islands for that matter, actually, on Batscope. It tells you the towns and the cities, but it doesn't tell you what island it is. Which is kind of weird. That's Carousel right there. And just coming up to the nose, the tip of the nose is Union Island. And then we're going to have Canoan right there. This is a really cool runway and landing. So is that one for that matter. And this one. So these are three great, what you have in your view right now are three really great approaches and three very different approaches. I think it's Aerosoft has the Grenadines Volume 1 and Volume 2, and I highly recommend those. But even if you don't want to spend the money, even the stock scenery is fine. And I mean, when you look and you see this water masking, I mean, it's stunning. It's amazing. And even better, and that's Mystique right off our nose right here. That's one of the coolest approaches and landings in the Caribbean. If you don't want to spend the money to get these airports, that's Canoan right there. You can see it stretched along right here. And again, this is why I like flying at 17,000 feet. It's really pretty cool. If you don't want to spend the money, go to flightsim.to and hopefully the scenery creators, content creators have not pulled their scenery. From the website, and you can get free versions of some of these airports. As a matter of fact, I think you can get free versions of all of the Grenadines airports. The free version of Mystique, which is right here off our nose, is awesome. I mean, it's awesome. It's almost really every bit as good as the Payware. Which makes you wonder why I bothered buying it, but that was one of the things I noticed early on in Microsoft Flight Simulator was that it was quite clear that scenery creation was a different ballgame than it was in the older Sims. And that we were going to get a lot of airports that you just didn't get in the older Sims. Nobody bothered. Nobody bothered. With the small islands in the older Sims. So nobody did. In terms of content, you know, scenery companies, the businesses that do it and sell their wares. You know, really, you got Princess Juliana, maybe you got San Juan, but that's about it. And now I can say without fear of contradiction that literally every single airport, I really think every single airport from Grand Cayman to Aruba is either done as a freeware or as a payware scenery in Microsoft. It's just amazing. It's certainly a different world from what we used to get. This part of it confuses me why they have the number pad here and the number pad here. One would think that they could have been integrated, but I don't know. Let's start taking a look at the approach here. Alright. Transition altitude is 9,000, which I will use as our transition level because there is no transition level. Sort of a little bit Dermy is 2,000 both. Just thinking I'm a little bit concerned, I guess is the word, that the airplane, there's no top of descent indicated. I think something is not right with there should have been something didn't load right with the approach. That's basically what I'm trying to say. And alright, now there's a top of descent indicated. So I don't know whether this VNAV path mode wouldn't activate. So I don't know whether that's because we have to be within a certain distance. Okay, yeah, now we got it. Now we got it. Now we've got VNAV path mode. Ooh. Ooh, that was bad. You want a pro tip from today's flight? Don't do that. See, it's having to dive now. Because it didn't get into VNAV path mode early enough. It didn't start descending early enough. So now we're having to, now that the poor people in the background, in the back of the plane rather, are all like vomiting on themselves. A 3,000 foot per minute descent. Is not what you're looking for. FWS recall. Not what you're looking for. Landing elevation is set automatically. FMS nav and performance data. Alright. Let's see. Dry runway with reverse thrust. Approach speed is 104 knots. Okay, transition altitude, I'm gonna go 9,000 feet. That in QNH is QNH is 1015. You can see. So winds are 090 at 10. Alright, so 104 is our approach speed. I'm gonna go first. What else we need to do here? Decision height MDA is 980. set that. Okay. And set it over here as well so it stops blinking. Alright, arrival briefing. Alright, seatbelts on. Landing lights on. Battery standby compass tiger. Landing lights on. Altimeter is 9,000 feet. Let's see, 1015. Cabin altitude. It's good. Alright. So 2 bed, and then once we cross 2 bed, I'm going to hit the approach button. And nothing's gonna happen. Okay, well. Cabin crew's been advised. Still have these spikes on the side of the island there. So we need to start paying a bit more attention to what the airplane's doing because I am slowing down quite a bit here. This is a direct result of lack of excuse me, lack of familiarity with the airplane. I'm fairly certain it's going to go into a hold. And it is... Okay. So I think I have turned off the hold, but I'm going to be very, very alert here. George FL Charles, traffic, Caribbean 434 turning a 12-mile final runway, 09er, Charles. I think I may have just discovered why it's going to go into a hold. It's going into a hold. Autopilot off. So this is going to be a very long straight in final. And this is kind of what I like about this airplane, is that you can simply disable everything and just fly it. Doesn't like it, clearly. So 1,800 feet at this next waypoint. So we will make sure that we don't bust that. Again, this is what I like about this airplane. It is flyable by hand. I would prefer it if the automation would work. But as the song goes, you can't always get what you want. Alright, so we're looking pretty good. Charles traffic, Caribbean 434 is on a 3-mile final runway 09er, Charles. Alright, we are VREF +5 right now. What I like.
Approaching minimum. Minimum.
Continue.
Minimum.
Alright, gear down through the 3 green flaps are set. Continuing. Airspeed is pretty good, but it's increasing.
$200. $50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until the seatbelt sign is switched off and the aircraft
There's one thing that was distinctly missing from that touchdown was the fact that there were no reversers.
And be careful when opening the overhead lockers. Heavy items may have shifted around. Please can fall, causing injury to you or someone nearby. If you are traveling on any other Caribbean Airlines service, you are required to surrender all duty-free liquids to our security agents, who will return it to you at the door of your next departing flight. If you require any assistance,
okay, there's no turnaround down here, so there's no point in doing this.
We wish you a safe and pleasant onward journey.
My passengers didn't wind up over there.
Smoking is prohibited except in designated smoking areas outside the terminal building. Duty-free shopping is available to all landed passengers. Your purchases must be made before you proceed to the customs official. Our Caribbean Airlines duty-free shop is located to the left just after you leave immigration.
Charles traffic, Caribbean 434 back taxiing runway 9er full length. Flaps up, trims are good. Leave the lights on for right now. Windshield heating off. I love the detail. Around the airport. There's the competition, Lucia. Here so that I don't bump wings with anybody. Okay, that's good enough for me. I'll feather both props. And I'm going to put this into hotel mode. Shut engine number 1 down. We're getting all kinds of caution lights now. Engine number 1 is shutting down. Engine number 2 is in hotel mode. So let's set the parking brake. Gust lock is set. And go down here to the parking checklist. Parking brake set, taxi and takeoff lights off. Actually, I want to have the beacon on because we are still turning an engine, even though it's transponder on standby. Tail prop. Tail prop. Go wheel chocks, tail prop, ground power. Get our doors open here. Seatbelt sign is off. Alright, so now we can take a look up here. Turn that fuel pump off. External power is available. So I will avail myself of that. So now what I will do is turn off engine number 2. And that's that. So at least to my untrained eye, we're in pretty good shape. To my untrained eye, we're in pretty good shape. So, you know, combination of user error on my part, and the fact that you know, I don't really, the takeoff and departure and cruise is relatively easy. The descent approach phase is still a bit of a mystery to me. I don't quite understand why it wouldn't engage VNAV path mode. I didn't quite understand why it wouldn't. It never loaded the approach into the FMC to begin with, much less flew it. So I don't know. It's but it's a fun airplane. I mean, you see what happened is I simply turned off the autopilot and we landed it right in the captain's bars. I mean, we literally landed right in the 1,000-foot markers. You know, one white over red. It was perfect. Cool cruise ship over there. So you know, to me, it's a cool airplane, and I'm really looking forward to the updates in a couple days. So, hope you guys enjoyed the flight. See ya.